There are a ton of characters in this new Ultimate Universe that I think we're all very eager to see. And at the top of that list for a lot of people is Wolverine, because in a universe run by the villains where there are no heroes, we're pretty curious to see where Wolverine falls. So we finally have a Wolverine in this new Ultimate Universe, and as always, he is the best there is at what he does. And what he does is make money. Howdy, I'm Kurt Williams, and today we're looking at issue 1 of Ultimate Wolverine by Condon and Alessandro Cappuccio. This is the, fourth ongoing title in this new Ultimate Universe, if you don't count the one-shots, and I've been seeing a lot of praise for it. A lot of people were really excited about it, for good reason, and after reading it for myself, I've gotta say, what a waste of my money. $6! This was $6 and it's only 26 pages, and the entirety of this book is Wolverine killing people. And if you're saying to yourself, oh, isn't that what Wolverine does all the time? He goes around killing people. That's just pretty standard for the character, right? Then you sweet baby angel, I want you to know that there is more to the character than just killing people. But I'm not gonna go down that rabbit hole because we could argue all day about which author's version of Wolverine is the correct version, and it's not important for this video. I have not read much by Condon. I know he wrote that Texas Blood, which I read a little bit of, and it was a big hit, and then he wrote the Enfield Gang Massacre, which was like a follow-up, I think, and I barely remember what I read. It didn't leave a super strong impression on me. It did seem a little bit above average, so I'm not surprised that Marvel finally recruited him to write something. Alessandro Cappuccio, on the other hand, has been around at Marvel for a while, and you might be familiar with his work on Moon Knight. That series got a level of praise in the freaking stratosphere. Everybody loved that series, and I tried to read it, and I just could not get hooked. I didn't think it was that good, mostly because I find Cappuccio's art to be largely unremarkable. I think that a lot of potential in drama and atmosphere and energy is lost in the way that Cappuccio interprets the script of a comic. Like, okay, in a Wolverine comic, you have a bunch of really ridiculous, edgy, over-the-top poses, right? That's just part of a Wolverine comic. Very dramatic, very 90s macho, dumb-looking poses. And some artists can really sell that. I think Jim Lee, Mark Silvestri, Simone Bianchi, these artists can all make Wolverine look really scary. But when I look at a page like this in particular, I can kind of figure out what the author had in mind when he wrote the script, and I can see that it is just not translating. Like this middle panel here, we see the shadow of Wolverine killing a couple people on this like cloud of fog or something, and somebody else is watching the shadows. They can't see the actual action. And I'm pretty sure I know what the author was going for here. Sometimes when you have a really bright light under a subject and you have a bunch of smoke that's billowing, you can kind of get flashes of the action in these shadows that kind of go across the smoke but move at the same time as the smoke, and it's a really cool cinematic effect. When I look at this panel, I don't think that Cappuccio understood the assignment, or at least was incapable of getting the assignment done. And then it's immediately followed up by a panel that is cliche and really doesn't bring anything new to the idea. And then like this page later on where he just decides to cross his claws in front of his face, kind of interlock them a little bit, and then he just stands there thinking about how cool and deadly he is on a pile of bodies. This is really not selling the atmosphere for me. I do not get that scary feeling that a lot of artists can bring to the character here. It just looks goofy. Look at this. That's a limp ragdoll pose if I ever saw one. It goes beyond being a little bit awkward because he missed his mark and he's off balance. It's just not a good pose. It doesn't look good at all. And the way that I feel about the art is the exact same way that I feel about the overall story. In this issue, we have Wolverine being sent to kill this band of opposition soldiers who are trying to fight against the, what's it called? The Eurasian Republic, which is run by the Rasputins, which is Colossus and Magic and Omega Red. So we have this super cliche scene where he jumps out of a plane without a parachute, and the people in the plane are like, oh, you don't have a parachute! And from that moment, I am checked out. You lost me. Then we got a bunch of pages where he's just going around killing people. We got Mystique and Nightcrawler belonging to the opposition, and they're trying to fight, but it's not working. Big surprise. We get a flashback to when the Rasputins captured Wolverine in the first place and turned him into the Winter Soldier. And then we go back to him killing people for a while. We got Nightcrawler fighting him, which is a cool idea but has pretty bad execution. Like this scene where Nightcrawler manages to kick Wolverine across the room and make him smash into a bunch of boxes. That's just not realistic. Nightcrawler loses the fight, of course, because Wolverine is the best there is at stabbing his friends. We get a little bit of insight into how the Rasputins brainwashed him, and then we have a very dramatic zoom in on him that's supposed to convey something that I did not receive. And that's it. Really, I think the point of interest here is that the Winter Soldier has been combined with the Wolverine, and that's supposed to be cool enough that it makes you excited, but it does not make me excited. And I guess the point of drama in the series comes from us wanting Wolverine to revert back to the opposition forces where he can be a good guy instead of just being a weapon for the evil mutants, which, by the way, I don't know why Colossus and Magic are suddenly evil here. Jonathan Hickman just woke up one day and flicked a switch and said, hey, you know what? Colossus and Magic, they're just gonna kill all their friends for the sake of their country. And that is so stupid, and I can't possibly describe to you how upset it makes me. So we've got a cliche, uninspired, non-compelling plot paired with flavorless, uninspired art, and a price tag that is just way too freaking high for what was delivered. $6! $6 for this one issue! Based on this issue, this is the worst of the Ultimate series. This is just not good. I'm gonna rate it like 5 out of 10. It was a major disappointment. I have read so many Wolverine comics in my day, and almost all of them are better than this. Like, wait a second, let me find the worst Wolverine comic I own. Okay, I got one. It's not the worst Wolverine comic I've ever read, but it does prove my point pretty well. In this issue of Wolverine, all he does is sit in a pit and get shot over and over every day forever. And this is still a much more engaging read, a much better story, a much more nuanced examination of the human experience than Ultimate Wolverine issue 1. This is a cash grab. This is storytelling. I wish I had nicer things to say about it. I really love the character, and I'm kind of enjoying the Ultimate Universe so far, so I had high hopes for it, and everybody seems to love it. Everybody's really excited about it, and I want to share that excitement, but knowing how many fantastic Wolverine stories are out there, I just have no love for this one. If you want good Wolverine, go read the Weapon X Saga by Barry Windsor Smith. Go read the 4-issue miniseries by Chris Claremont and Frank Miller. Read Origin by Paul Jenkins and Adam Kubert. Or Evolution by Jeff Loeb and Simone Bianchi. Or Origins by Daniel Way and Steve Dillon. Or Wolverine Volume 2 by Larry Hama and Mark Silvestri. There are literally dozens of much better Wolverine stories than Ultimate Wolverine. So don't settle for this. Go read the good stories. This is a 5 out of 10. Anyways, that's all I've got for you today. If you haven't seen my Every Comic Shop in Georgia videos, go watch them. They're great, I promise, and I will see you soon. I'm Kurt Williams, and you are someone else.